Alright guys, we are outside of the Tuol Sleng Genocide Museum, kind of more the darker side of the Cambodian history. Gonna explore it a little bit and let's see what we find. Hello. Hello. So this museum is one of the most popular things you can actually do in Phnom Penh, and it's a good way to kind of see the darker side of the Cambodian history with the Khmer Rogue. The S21 prison is what it was called when everything was happening, and it's basically where prisoners would be held who weren't joining their rebellion. And yeah, unfortunately a lot of very sad things happened here. A lot of deaths, a lot of torturing. And I guess it was actually a former secondary school before they turned it into that prison, and they used it for interrogation purposes. But the rain's starting to come down, but you can kind of see the layout here. It definitely looks more of like a secondary school. And then you see these would be like the prison rooms. I'm currently on the second floor. Looks like there's 3 floors total. So this is where, of course, the inmates would be in these rooms. You can see more of what the middle looks like here. On the boards here too, they show pictures of all the prisoners that were held here. All different ages. Some are younger kids, some are older as well, so it's pretty crazy. Now this is pretty interesting. They made some of these prison cells out of bricks. I'll show you, they're definitely not very big. Having to live inside this tiny little cell would be, I can't even imagine. So I'm up on the second floor now, and as you can see here, the cells up here were all built out of wood. Interesting that they use different resources to build. But again, these cells are very small. Not much room at all. Well, yeah, this is some pretty deep stuff. I didn't want to show too much inside some of them, but it's a lot of pictures, a lot of paintings of the torturing that they were doing, of a lot of the prisoners that had died, whether it was from starvation or torture, or one of the other many reasons. Shows every picture of every single prisoner, and it kind of hits you deep. Well, after doing some reading as well, it looks like up to about 20,000 men, women, and children were killed here by the Khmer Rogue here at S21 prisons. A lot of torture, a lot of interrogations, and a lot of unfortunate deaths. So pretty incredible to see all this history and a little bit more of the darker side of Cambodia and what the whole Khmer Rogue was. Alright guys, we're making our way to the exit now. So yeah, I got to learn quite a bit about this whole Khmer Rogue, and unfortunately how many people's lives were lost and all the torture that unfortunately happened. But learned a lot for sure. It's always good to know the history behind these countries that I'm visiting as well, as hard as it can be to see some of the things that happened. But now we're gonna head to the killing field, and it's gonna be pretty hard to see some of the stuff, at least from what I've heard, but it's important to understand that this stuff happened. We made it to the Choeung Ek Genocide Center. Probably not saying that correctly, but this is famously known as the Killing Fields. So yeah, we're just at the museum now. Here at the Killing Fields, definitely gonna be hard to see some of this stuff, but should be really interesting. The place is very open here, and there's actually a place over here where the museum is, so you can learn a little bit about what happened here, and then we can actually go see like the places it happened. All right, so just made it out of the museum. They're mostly just pictures and text of kind of explaining what happened, but yeah, mainly reinforced what I had kind of already read at the S21 prison of the Khmer Rogue, and how they were basically torturing and killing these innocent people. It showed some of the weapons that they would use, had some pictures of some prisoners. So yeah, pretty tough stuff. But now we're gonna walk around the actual outside and kind of see what's out here. So they have these little signs posted up, and where they're placed shows where different things were. So they had like a chemical substance building, place where the prisoners would get dropped off that are coming from the prison, and where they're getting executed, kind of explaining where each thing was. Been walking around the whole area here, and it's pretty tough trying to read some of the stuff, but pretty much have seen most of it now. The last thing now is just the main monument in the middle here. So they built this big monument here to show respect to the millions of people that were killed here under the genocidal Pol Pot regimen, and they have the music playing at it as well. So as you guys can see in there, millions of skulls. They can tell how old they were, how they died, and yeah, it's pretty terrible to see. It's pretty sad. Well guys, leaving the killing fields now. Definitely a lot of history here, as well as at the S21 prison, which is where I was before this. Obviously it's terrible what happened here, and it's really sad. It's the unfortunate darker side of the history here in Cambodia. But I do think it's super important to be able to know about it and just be educated about the history, because I mean, they do say history can repeat itself, so you can learn from this, and hopefully those people that lost their lives can be used for good to understand more about the Khmer Rogue and what happened here. So I hope you guys enjoyed, hope you learned something. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one.